Yo, what's going on? What's going on? I'm back with another word. And I'm back with a word I just received last night. This word was very interesting. This word was very, very surprising. But it's also something I noticed that God has been showing me over the past few years, and something that He's been, sending a message out to His children while we're in the times we're living in right now. This is a dream I received last night. So I will say, as usual, take it up with the Lord for confirmation. Take it up with the Lord and have discernment when you're hearing what I'm about to tell you right now. So let's get it. So when it first came to this dream, what I specifically remember from this dream is I remember being in this mall. And I believe it was like a nighttime when I was in this mall, because that's what I remember it as. I couldn't really identify if I was with somebody, but all I knew is that I passed by a friend that I knew, and she was with her boyfriend or whatever. And I remember her telling me, "Hey, friend," and I told her what's up. As soon as I like passed by her, how usually like malls and stuff like have like these glass ceilings high up in the ceiling. They have these glass in the window type ceilings. I remember looking up at the glass ceiling, and I remember this very, very huge alien like spaceship just started coming down. I'm talking about this spaceship it was huge, you feel me? And as I'm looking at this spaceship, like, I'm surprised. It's like I got a whole bunch of emotions running around. Like, I'm not only surprised, but I'm also excited, and I'm also shocked at the same time. And the mall was packed. Everybody saw this. Like, you couldn't miss this UFO spaceship. Everybody saw this, and it landed, right in front of the mall, and everybody, was just in shock. And these very weird creatures, like the space door opened, and these very, very weird creatures came out of the spaceship. From what I saw, these beings have very large heads, but they have very small bodies. But when they came out, the people in the mall were getting very excited. It's like people were very excited to see these beings coming out. And it's as if these people were treating these beings as if they were gods, as if they were somebody to be worshipped, as if they were somebody to be embraced. Not only did some people get excited, and some people went for trying to go and enter into the spaceships, but also there were people like me, such as so as myself, and others that knew what it was, and many of us were trying to run away from these beings because it was just very creepy, and I feel like a lot of us knew what was up. Not only did I see myself and many others running, but I also seen my little sister and her sister on her dad's side, and we were all running. And I remember telling my sister specifically, I was like, "Don't go into the spaceship. Those are fallen angels." And as we kept on running, it was these people. They were like as regular people. They were like employees of the mall, or I don't know what they were. But I noticed that one of them was trying to take my little sister. And so eventually they took my little sister and they placed her like inside the spaceship, and they shut the door. I remember it was like people were at first, like the people who went before they went into the spaceship, they were very excited. But it's like as soon as they went into the spaceship, that's when they were panicking, and that's when they were yelling and screaming like they was trying to get out. So I'm trying to find a solution to try to how to save these people. And so, you feel me? I try to, I go up to the door, and I see that the employee looking guy tried to come up to me, and he tried to fight me. So I ended up fighting him, and I ended up beating him up. And I actually used like his key card, because there needed to be a key card in order to, activate, all the doors of the spaceship. I remember I used his key card, and then all the doors of the ship activated open, and everybody started rushing out and escaping. But there was one guy that was inside the spaceship trying to keep people from leaving out, but we all started scratching his arms or whatever, and then he tried to, and everybody, ended up, barging their way out, and everybody was able to escape. After this, and this was the most weirdest part about this dream, but after this, I saw Wonder Woman. I saw Wonder Woman, and I saw the Joker from Batman. Specifically, the Joker from Batman was trying to fight me, and he was trying to attack me, but I was still fighting him off. But the weird part about it was that Wonder Woman actually, it felt like she didn't really do nothing. And the whole point of Wonder Woman is like she's supposed to be a superhero, but it seems like she didn't help at all. But it seemed like she was actually on the side of Joker, which was weird. After this, the dream ended. And so like I'm just very confused on what I saw. But as the day kept going on, you feel me? I eventually started getting revelation. I started getting download of everything God was showing me. And thanks to some help from a couple of people, I was able to actually find more things out. And I know that God usually talks to me while I'm in the shower. So he just started speaking to me. And the one thing that was interesting that God pointed out to me is that in the shower was that he made me think about the Wonder Woman and he made me think about Joker. Now, people don't realize this, but Joker is a supervillain and Wonder Woman is a superhero. But if you coincide those things with the fallen angels and the Nephilim and these UFOs or whatever, which are the fallen angels, and if we look back specifically in the days of Noah, specifically Genesis chapter 6, verse 4, this is exactly what it says. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterwards, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them, they were the heroes of old, men of renown. And when it means by renown, it means they were very famous. They were very, much glorified and worshipped by humans when they, came onto the earth. People don't realize that these fallen angels, the angels that God specifically kicked Lucifer out with, these angels don't come in ugly, grotesque forms like people may think they do. But they come very deceptive. They come looking very attractive looking. They come looking very, very intriguing to the eye. But what the agenda was for them to come into humans, create a breed that they knew that God wouldn't approve of, and corrupt and make humanity fall even harder than it did when we fell in the Garden of Eden. And this is the reason why God allowed for Noah and his family to go on the ark. This is the reason why God had told and instructed Noah to only bring a specific amount of animals so that, before, he flooded the earth, he will allow all of them to reproduce. He will allow all of them to, repopulate the earth back to where he wanted it, because the people that were sleeping with these fallen angels, they all had corrupted bloodlines. They all had corrupted DNAs. But once I read that verse in Matthew 6:4, it makes so much sense why so many people were excited to get on the spaceship. It made so much sense why I felt like so many people were fanned out. And it made sense why I seen the supervillain and the superhero Joker in Wonder Woman. Because if you really look at the definition of super, the abbreviation can come up to the word superior, or it could come up to above, over, beyond, to great or extreme degree, having greater influence capacity than another of its kind. And I'm going to say shout out to my brother. I'm going to put him here on the screen when he made a revelation on how he felt like the Marvel characters, the superheroes, the Marvel superheroes were representations of the fallen angels. And that would make sense, though. And it also makes sense of the time when that thing happened in the Miami Mall where people said they seen these very, very tall beings. I remember it was one woman who had a report. I think she was there, or I think she said somebody was there or something like that. And they said when they saw those creatures, they were kind of moving like they were more superior. They were moving like they weren't from this earth, or that they were more like mightyful and powerful than those that they were around. And that's exactly how these fallen angels, these Nephilim, that's exactly their characteristics. That's exactly their traits, because they are not from this earth, which is why they're called aliens. They are super intergalactical extraterrestrial beings that are very spiritual, and they're not from this earth, and they're not what people make them out to be. I even made a video around last year. I'm going to pop it up on the screen as well, where I said I basically had the same dream I had today. And these flying saucers were flying over this building I was in. I was like in a banquet hall. And I just remember being like, they're here. I was like, it's time. But I also feel like I got more revelation about this dream from another woman of God just about an hour or two ago. And what she said, if at first it didn't make sense to me until I actually, got to the nitty gritty of it. And I actually really started to really look at it from what she was saying. And, she gave her intake, and she basically said that she sees the ship in my dream as the church. And that by many of them going onto the ship, that means that many people are going into and entering many of these churches, and they're being very misled and brainwashed by the ministers that are running this church that are very corrupt and false. And I'm just like, that makes very much sense. I not only take some of what she said as truth, but I also take a little bit what God has shown me in the past about what is going on in these times we're living in, these times that you guys need to be very, very aware of. From the dream, I believe what God was showing me is that, just as it says in Matthew 24:37, just as in the days of Noah, so shall it be for the coming of the Son of Man. For in the days of Noah, many people were marrying, giving into marriage, partying, living their lives when Noah was building the ark. Because in those times it never rained, many people didn't believe what Noah was saying. Many people didn't believe that Noah was hearing what he was hearing, and people was looking at him crazy when he was building the ark. But because they were so distracted, because they were given in to the deceptive doctrines of the devil, and they were given in to the evil, deceptive, beauty of the fallen angels, by the time the flood came, it was too late, and the ark doors were closed, and they missed the mark. And I think that's why it felt like, it was such a normal day at the mall when I was there, because God did tell us we would not know the day or the hour. That day and the hour when the Lord comes back, many of us might be shopping. Many of us might be spending time with our families. Many of us might be at work. Many of us might be doing things. But it's like, that's what we're always supposed to keep our guard, because it's like, what are you going to be doing on that day that Jesus Christ returns? God even showed me in the past that we're coming to a point in time where these fallen angels or these aliens will soon start to show themselves. And when they come to show themselves, many people are going to worship them like gods. Many people are going to worship their whole entire being. Many people are going to be fanned out. Many people are going to be excited and think these beings are innocent and pure when they're not. Even before they come and showing themselves, they're desensitizing many of you guys in believing the false doctrines and the lies that they tell. Timothy even explains in 1 Timothy 4:1 that now the Spirit expressly says that in the latter times some will depart from the faith, giving heed to deceiving spirits and doctrines of demons. Many people are giving into the deceptions. Many people are giving into the witchcraft. They're giving into the tarot cards, the zodiac signs, the spirit spouses. Many people are giving into wanting to be a witch and a warlock, and not knowing that they're coming into agreement. They're coming into covenant with things that are of the devil. Many people nowadays are falling away from Jesus Christ and going into New Age spirituality, not knowing that the New Age spirituality in the teachings of it is all nothing but a twisted version of what God originally created for us to learn about in the Word. But what the devil does is that the devil comes as an angel of light, so he has to disguise it as something pure. He has to disguise it as something nice and with a bow tie in order for you to fall into it. Because if the devil was to show you exactly who he was, you wouldn't want to come to it. You would know it for what it truly is. But the devil always has to come as an angel of light. Colossians 2:8 actually tells us, see to it that no one takes you captive through hollow and deceptive philosophy, which depends on human tradition and the elemental spiritual forces of this world rather than on Christ. Meaning, let us not take heed and come into agreement with deceptive doctrines and seducing spirits of the spiritual evil wicked forces of this world that's only meant to deceive us and cause us to be confused and in a state of delusion. But let's focus and pay attention to what Christ is showing us in this hour. Just as in the days of Noah, so shall it be for the coming of the Son of Man. And many people are so distracted. Many people don't realize what's going on. What do you think these pagan cultures in the Egyptians, all these hieroglyphics, what do you think they were trying to show us? Or what do you think they were telling us? They were showing what they worship. They were showing that the fallen angels, the Nephilim, have always been here. And even through things that's going on right now, these things are coming back. These things are coming back and it's showing us, the Bible's unfolding, it's showing us that everything that people were saying was true. We give into the AI, we give into the technology, we give into all these things that the fallen angels have granted to us and have given to us for our own demise. You guys don't believe it? Go read the book of Enoch and you tell me. Many false prophets shall arise. Many false Christs shall arise and say that they are the Christ. But it's all up to you to discern and exercise your God-given wisdom and knowledge that God has given you to see what is what. And for many who have not given their lives over to Christ yet, God is pleading with you. God is calling on you, and he's using his prophets, his prophetess, his apostles, his pastors, his ministers, his evangelists to reach out to you. Don't be blind by the calling. Don't be blind like the people in the days of Noah, giving in to seducing spirits and flirting with evil. Many of you guys are chosen. Many of you guys are called and don't even know it. But it's better to gain Christ than to gain the world and lose Christ in the end. Get on the boat before the ark closes. Repent. Give your life over to Christ.